Everybody's seeing a little bit of AI and what it can do, and you have a lot of these companies out there that have their contact center platform, and then they go, you know what, we really need to add some AI to it. So they go and they bolt on an AI piece, and then they kind of push it out there and they say, we have AI in our contact center, and it works for some. However, Kore's got a little different approach. Instead, what we did was we took an AI platform and we put the contact center on top of it. And that way it gives us an AI-first approach with very strong intelligence in the background as it pushes forward, and that it works with customers and agents. And that's what Graham is going to show you here in a minute, and I'll let him introduce himself. But what we really want you to be focused on is the difference it makes, excuse me, the difference it makes when you have an AI platform with contact center on top of it that's been around for 30 years versus the other way around. And I think that you're going to see it has quite a different approach. Now, as we go through and we demonstrate this, you're going to see that we're right in this transition, literally within a couple days, between where we are today with version 10 and where we're going to be going out with version 11. So you're going to see kind of a combination of demonstration between 10 and 11, but we're going to get you there. As you have questions and you want to better understand how this is all going to work, let's answer those questions, and we can help get you to understand. However, we have two more presentations tomorrow and Friday that we're going to be able to do on contact center. So if we can't get through all of it today, we have our guest speaker, Rucha Gupta, who's going to go in and give you all the truth and all the details for everything contact center and agent AI. Make sense? So it's a pleasure that I'm so glad that we get to see some other faces. I've been here since last Tuesday, working all the way through and trying to get ready for you. So the fact that you're here is like thrilling, because now we're not just doing it in front of empty chairs. We get you guys involved. Just to give you a quick overview of some of the stuff that we're going to be covering, I'm just giving you the introduction to the Contact Center AI. Oh, by the way, I probably should have mentioned that. This AI platform with Contact Center on it is called Contact Center AI. That's our product name going forward, and we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Then Graham's going to go through, he's going to give you a solution overview. I explained the difference, watch between version 10 and 11. We're going to go through things like the queries and how we do routing, the agent and supervisor desktops, which are fantastic, the voice and data configurations, and then really the ultimate one, in my opinion, is agent AI, where the AI is sitting there listening to calls or conversations, and then guiding agents into helping them and to make the best decisions possible and known. So it's really exciting. I'm going to turn it over to my buddy Graham, and he's going to drive you from here.
All right, you guys hear me okay? All right, so I'm Graham Dean. I've been in contact center and IVR space for a little more than 3 decades, which makes me very young starting work. So I'm here to talk you through this. Let me end this show. And I'll caveat up front, they released XO11 to us last week. So they moved a lot of things around. So sometimes I've been having some problems finding where certain things are. So, bear with me as I go through this if I fumble a little bit. But I wanted to show you the new XO11 environment and the experience in that, because that's what we're going to be moving forward. They've also changed all the names of everything on us. So again, this is not Smart Assist. This is not Agent Assist. All of those names, I've got to try and get them out of my head. So this is when you go into an instance environment of XO11, you kind of come to something that looks like this. You wouldn't have these two pre-existing virtual assistant apps there. You'd be creating your own apps. But I'm going to go through and kind of show partially within an existing app and partially within when you build out a new one. So let's start with doing a new app first. So I'm not going to import an app. So when I go to new app, it gives me my options here of what I want to do. And everything is consolidated now into one single pane of glass. So you don't have separate URLs that you're going to for search AI versus automation AI, which used to be bot builder, et cetera. So I'm going to go ahead and create a contact center AI. Now, the interesting thing is I didn't select automation AI, I selected contact center AI. But with our platform, it's predicated on the fact that the first thing you're going to try and do is automate tasks for people that are coming in. You want to try and make sure that those conversations don't go to a human being and lower the amount of agents you need in your contact center itself. So first you would actually go in and build out automation dialogue tasks. And are you all pretty much familiar with that? I don't know who's new versus existing customers, but most of you probably know dialogue tasks and on the old XO platform. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do a guided onboarding, which takes you step by step through all the things you need to do to set up your contact center. Or you can go in and do a custom setup where you just go in and start playing with it. I'm going to take you through the custom setup here, just because it's easier for me to show different features this way. Now, I'm going to give it a name here. KK25. It's going to be in English. Are you all familiar with, in the XO platform, the ability to use LLMs and generative AI to generate suggestions for dialogue tasks and such? So that's basically what this is here. I'm just going to go default and create app. Okay. So now that I've created the app, you'll see a couple of things in here. I have the ability to go into automation. So these will be the actual tasks, dialogue tasks that are created. These are just the default ones that are created out of box if you don't add any new dialogue tasks of your own. You also have the ability to go in here into Contact Center AI and walk through. And again, this is the guided process right here, but you can go down below it and make a selection. So I'm going to actually go back out of here into the pre-existing one so I can show you. I missed my mouse. Show you some configuration items specifically around Contact Center. So the first thing that's very different than it was in Smart Assist if you're familiar with the old Smart Assist product, it had the experience flows where you had to kind of design out that experience flow. We now have start flows and exit flows. What you're going to do when a conversation comes in and when it leaves. Our entire dialogue designer look and feel has changed since XO10. And you'll see a very similar look and feel as we go through this. So if I go into this chat flow here, you'll see that it's actually using our new kind of template layout of how our flows are. Yes, sir. Does that help? So when you build one out, you've got a lot of the same kind of nodes that you had previously in the experience flow, but some of the layout, the look and feel is a little bit different. You can group things together a little bit differently, and everything is in one application, so you're not linking. I think there was some discussion at the end of the last session about having to have multiple. You have the instance bot and the actual automation bot. All of that's gone away. You just build out your flows in here, and you link the automations right through here, and it's just you're choosing which automation app you're connecting everything to. So I've got it coming in here. I've got a greeting, a message. Again, just like with the rest of our platform, you can have multiple messages in here. You can add them by channel, etc. So you can type, different messages here, define them. You have your automation. So here's where you're defining what automation tasks you're going to. Are you going to kick off a specific dialogue task when it comes in? Or are you going to just go to an open-ended intent within the XO platform, etc. You got some custom feedback surveys. You can add surveys in here. And then you could do selection. What are you going to do when certain things happen, like agent transfer? If someone selects agent transfer, where do you go? And you're going to go there into the agent transfer node. And then you've got all the properties you can define here for the agents if you want to scale it. And I don't have apparently. Now this is in our staging environment, since this is still, it's almost cooked. It should be cooked in 2 days. So there's a few things that are a little bit funky still, but they're getting resolved. There's a very fiery Google chat space going on about this. So that's kind of, that replaces, so these flows, whether it's for chat or for voice, kind of replaces what was your, your old experience flows that you had in the previous platform. The other thing we have in here is channel connectors. So we have now the Kore.ai Voice Gateway. As many of you know, we were using audio codes previously as kind of a voice gateway. We've kind of migrated away from that into our own voice gateway, just so we have better control over everything. You can purchase numbers through us. You can configure SIP connectivity for SIP numbers if you want to bring your own SIP trunk to us. We have the ability in here for you to select your voice preferences. Obviously, if you're on our hosted platform, you have access to, you have access to multiple different text-to-speech engines within our platform itself, as well as multiple ASR engines. You can select different voices that are available for the text-to-speech, so there's a lot of flexibility there of how you want your branding to be, what you want to sound like. And from a speech recognition perspective, depending on the domain that you're in, certain speech engines might perform a little bit better than others from that speech-to-text capability. So this, experimenting you can do with different ASR engines and see what's preferable. Having been a long-time contact center person, I find it a bit annoying that they call it an automatic speech recognition engine, because it's not ASR, it's speech-to-text in reality, but that's kind of an aside.
Quick question for you.
Yeah.
So, knowing that, again, that you guys used to use audio codes and switched over to your node, and I thought that you referred to it as a voice gate rather than just as an SBC. And I'm just kind of curious, does it still carry a lot of the same function? I haven't had a chance to dig into it yet, but does it carry a lot of the same functionality and security controls on things like normalization, direct controls that you would normally see within audio codes or Oracle or within SBC? Obviously, SBC serves multiple purposes.
Yep. Yeah, so yes, it does, and we'd have to defer to one of our platform architects to get into the details with you, but we can hook you up with RV if you want to chat with him at some point.
Yeah, I'll be there later.
Okay. So that's from a voice perspective. We also still have support for third-party voice channels, so like Twilio Voice. If you want to hook in, we still have support for audio codes as a channel, third-party IVRs through basically webhook type channel, and Amazon Alexa is kind of a pre-configured voice channel that we have. And then from a digital perspective, we have all the the regular suspects out there from a digital perspective, channels that we can integrate into. So this is really kind of flows how you get the conversation into the contact center, what kind of automation you're going to apply to it, what your channels are. So this is kind of your basic configuration of your contact center input. So the next thing I'm going to dive into here is the contact center settings themselves. So I'm going to kind of just run down this, and guys, stop me anytime if you have questions. I'm happy to be interrupted. I'm used to working with sales guys, so So we have some default flows that come in. So these are flows. What happens? So the conditional flows are, what are you going to do if no agents are available, or it's outside operating hours, et cetera. So you can define in here what those flows are going to be. Are you going to add like a certain message? What you're going to do at that point? Are you going to maybe switch it to a different skill group? Are you going to do an API call and submit a ticket so that the next day someone can get back to you? Whatever you want to do in that environment, you can kind of configure these flows. based upon conditions that are happening within the contact center itself. Waiting flows are what you can define for various situations. So you can have these waiting experiences. This is what happens. These are like in-queue treatment, right? So when you're actually in queue at this point. You can define this by skill type, skill group. So this rule only applies if it's for this particular skill group, et cetera. You can define for voice what the initial message is. What are you going to say to the person when they get into queue? What are you going to say on transfer? Are you going to have hold audio, and what are you going to use for hold audio? Your periodic messages. Do you want to have multiple messages? Do you want them in random order? Do you want them looped? Do you want to just have one message? Hey, you're still important. Please wait another 30 minutes and we'll try to get to you, et cetera. Callback option right now, if you're familiar with Smart Assist, it's the same in here. The callback option is not a look ahead at agent availability. It's an option that's provided after a certain amount of time in queue. What you would have to do is in your start flow, if you want to do like look at agent availability, it can do an API call, look at agent availability, and make a decision to do something different with routing at that point if you wanted to use that functionality. Are you going to allow voicemail on there? So we have voicemail also available. I didn't go into chat, did I? Chat experiences is just a little bit less, less things to choose between here. You have the initial message, agent transfers, and your periodic messages. You don't have callback, obviously, because this was a chat. No one's going to call you back on a chat. All right, so when we talk about routing, setting up your routing, you can set up queues in here. So queues are where you're going to collect people. So people sit in a queue. It's like a bucket of people. You can set rules around the queue. You can set rules around, are you going to enable agents to transfer calls? What's the maximum time conversation should be in a queue? And then what do you do when that timeout occurs? How long are you going to let them do post-call work, after-call work? And then if you want to do advanced routing, you can turn that on. And what advanced routing does is it allows you to have, so you have queues. You could all be in one queue and you're eligible for these calls, but based on the type of call that's coming in or chat that's coming in, you might be billing people, you might be support people, you have certain skills and proficiencies that are assigned within that queue itself. So what you can do for advanced routing is you can start with, hey, I want this skill, I want this to go to this skill, this particular skill. If no one's available after a certain amount of time, you can time that out and have a bigger skill group of people. So you're expanding the number of agents that you have available within that routing parameter just to get that transaction answered quicker. So that's queues. Skills, again, probably familiar concept to a lot of people. It's just you give it a skill name and a description. Create, and you've got in your skill, and then you can assign agents to that particular skill.
Can I ask you a question? So I know that today, I should say today is in the upcoming version, the version 11. I think you don't support skill proficiency weighting. Okay, not weighting is how long you wait, but
Yeah.
what the weight of their skill proficiency is. Do you know if that's something that's been talked about as a new pipeline for version 11?
Proficiency levels, yeah. Do we have?
Let's say I've selected.
So that they can hear you.
Sure. So there is a routing method we support today, which is called Bullseye, where you can actually support, say that I want to match 5 skills to route this query in, but then I want to slowly expire certain skills so that I expand my pool of agents, and that would meet some of your required around proficiency, I believe.
It's a little bit the way I saw it.
Could you repeat your question?
Basically, you've got a small screen, and even with just a little skill-based routing, you can have a bunch of, so when you have large contact centers, any hundreds of thousands of agents, you go, okay, I've got these agents that have these particular skills. And I've got skill group, but I might say, this person is a 10 out of 10.
Got it. Precision based. So you could say, Spanish language, they're proficient, 50%. Yeah, that's something which is not part of the platform, but we're looking at it. Yes.
Okay, I know what you have available for version 11.
Right.
I've already seen the previews on that.
Sure.
I'm not sure about that, I'm sure that's very seriously. But I know this is, we didn't know what's coming up on that. So.
Got it. Got it.
What's your name, by the way?
Ruchi.
Yeah, I recognize your voice. I didn't want to say that.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought we had a little microphone somewhere around here, but I can't find it. Got one now. Set skills. Then you've got agent and supervisors, so you can assign agents. You can create groups, so like here you have a default group. You can create agent groups and then assign agents to those groups, and that's for reporting and supervisory purposes primarily. You've got agent status, so we've got some kind of standard statuses that you can set up for your agents, but you can also create a new status. So these are basically, work codes or when you log out reason codes, things like that. Not ready reason codes, those kinds of things. So you can define other ones in here if you wanted to add ones like in training or, whatever your business requires, so you can kind of track time for individual agents. And then you've got a number of agent settings that you can manage here. So let me run through some of these. So answer mode for voice, emails, chat. Are you going to have it auto answer, or do you want the agent to have to say, yes, I want to accept this interaction before it pops up? So that's a pretty standard feature. Conversation status control. Here's where you can define when you're going to have things occur. So, like if you haven't responded after a certain amount of time, pop up the little thing, say, hey, get back to work. You're supposed to be talking to the customer. Obviously, that's from a chat perspective. So if you haven't responded, if a conversation's overdue, you can snooze things. You can do idle reminders for the customer and set the time, like, hey, you still there? You still want to continue this conversation? Yes.
Is this going to be available to migrate from dev, test to prod? Because manually, I have to do it in each system now. Is there a way to migrate it all?
It's currently the same way that you're used to with dev, test, and prod. Yep. I know. Feature. We have call recording control. So this is if you're going to enable call recording. Do you want to enable pause and resume? So if there's going to be, PCI, PII data, do you want to pause that recording while you're capturing that information, et cetera, et cetera. Then we've got controls around transfers. Can agents transfer to external contacts, enabled or disabled? Do you want them to consider skills when you're doing a transfer, or just individuals for doing the transfer? Do you want to transfer it to a skill, or just to a specific agent? I'm sorry, this is queues and agents and queues only. So if you have it set up for a skill match, it will only transfer if a certain skill is existing. Here's where you define whether it's queues and agents or queues only in terms of being able to transfer it. Put it back to queues and agents. Are you going to allow skills to get modified? So I might have had a conversation come to me, and it came to me because I'm a tier 1 billing person, for example. But then it turns out that it really should have gone to support. Do you want the agent to be able to reskill that transaction and resubmit it for rerouting or not? Auto logout, so you can enable like a period of inactivity, after which the agent just gets logged out, and that gets recorded so you can report on it and put them on a performance plan. Then you have the ability to actually pause conversations if they're going, so the customer's going out that you need the credit card number. They don't have it. It's in their wallet, which is downstairs. They need to go get that. You don't want these timeout parameters to affect that conversation at that point, so you can kind of override them by snoozing the conversation until they come back and they're ready to talk to you.
Quick question for you on that. When that does a snooze, is that actually put a pause or a stop and resume on the recording?
It is, I don't know in the recording. Does it stop the recording? When you snooze? Until you restart the conversation. Okay. Ruchi says yes.
Sorry, was that a pause or a stop? Yes on.
Does it actually stop recording and then restart, or does it just pause the recording? Okay, pause the recording and then restarts. So the transcript would still be the same. The transcript's just whatever the conversational pieces are that come back and forth. That shouldn't be the case. Is that right? All right. Ruchi will check on that. It doesn't sound like it's proper behavior, but. Dispositions. So here's where you can define disposition sets, like groups of different dispositions. You might have different disposition types for different queues, contact centers, types of agents, et cetera. So you can define different disposition sets, and then you can add disposition codes to them. We have some default disposition codes, and you have the ability to create your own custom disposition codes that you can add in and apply to those disposition sets, and then make those disposition sets available to certain queues, agent groups, et cetera. I don't think there's a technical limit. There might be a practical limit for managing it, but I've not seen any limits on that. Hours of operation, pretty straightforward. You can create hours of operations tables. You can define the name of it, what time zone it's in, what those hours of operation are. You can define holidays, special days, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, et cetera. Add those in there, pretty standard. Languages and speech, here's where you're defining the language options for your ASR, for your ASR TTS. Our ASR TTS languages are a lot more limited than the, obviously the bot language support, just because of ASR TTS resources. You can define it here. We did define this. There's a couple of places you can do this. So in the flow section, back up here, we were defining what the ASR and TTS resources were. Here's another place you can come to it also. And then hold audio. I find sometimes we have things that pop up in 2 or more places for doing the same thing within our platform, which is sometimes interesting. This is API integration for voice biometric authentication. So you'd have to bring obviously the API we don't provide voice biometrics as part of our platform, but we have the ability via API to connect to quite a few voice biometric platforms that are out there.
So in the last session, because I noticed that in the last session that it said supporting native support for voice biometrics. I wasn't sure if it just meant that it's going to be supported within the platform natively out of the box, or native support in terms of APIs to third-party platforms.
It's APIs to third parties. Yeah, can you do the mic?
So for the voice biometric, we have a partner, and we've taken their component and hosted it on our system. There is still an API integration, but the component is hosted in our system. And the ability that provides is voice-based authentication, and in certain cases also spoofing. But for spoofing, you do require the voice stream to be in 16 kilohertz. So if it's in 8 kilohertz, that would not work. But if it's 16 kilohertz, that would work.
Thanks, Richie. And do you know from a pricing perspective, because that is something that sometimes, voice biometrics can get pricey to do that with third-party solutions. So when you host it internally, are you eating the cost for that? Are you basically doing a pass-through of what that session cost would be?
So, sure. Yeah, so It's somewhat pass through, but because we do have hosting cost, that's what we layer on top of the pricing. So it's, I mean, if there wasn't any hosting cost, we would just pass through. But because there is, we do have a. Yes, Alex or Peter can give you. We do have that pricing all nailed out. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same model as our ASR TTS. It's per minute pricing over the top of.
Yeah.
So it's not session based, it's actual usage based. Yeah. I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The supported languages, the calendar, holiday calendars, are they queued aside? Like, it looks like there's just one.
No, supported languages is languages that you support in the environment, period. The hours of operation items, yes, you build those out, and you can have different hours of operation groups, and you assign those to particular queues or, yep. All right, languages and speech. So again, this is like default flows. What do you do? And this is again a bit of a repeat from what we saw from the configurations previously. So I won't belabor that point. These are templates where you can have like the predefined, greetings that you want to have within the platform. Thanks for waiting. I'm glad you're a great customer, all those kinds of fun stuff. So you can create your kind of pre-existing, pre-canned responses that are available for the agent so they don't have to necessarily type a lot of things in there. We have the ability to enable surveys within the platform. So, we can do, you can have default surveys. You can do a chat experience. You can define what that survey is going to look like. And then for a call experience, how you're going to do the survey. I don't know how you fill in a survey in voice, but you probably want to change that. Agent forms. So this is where you can create forms for doing like secure data capture for the agent. So you're capturing PII information. You want to, have a form that's available for the agent to go through and fill it out. You can do that within the platform if you're not using like a third-party CRM that's embedded within the desktop, for example. Widgets are well, you can define these widgets. So these are within the agent console, within the agent desktop. You can embed certain third-party applications, et cetera. So let me show you. You can give it a name, put the URL of what it is, and that basically becomes embedded frame within the agent desktop. So you might embed your CRM within the agent desktop if that's something that you guys wanted to do. Okay, from an advanced setting perspective, a couple of things. You can enable co-browse. On our platform, there is no additional cost for co-browse. It's not an additional feature. It's just, it's in our platform. It's available if you're going to do co-browse. And then you can define what domains you want to make available for co-browse, et cetera. We have a roadmap item for building our own WFM solution. It's a little bit out. Right now, we have a preferred partner. It's called Community WFM. We work with them. They're kind of like our preferred WFM partner, but they're a third party. But we can also do integrations into other third-party WFM applications. Conversation summary, you either enable or disable that. There aren't a lot of other settings on that right now. That will be changing. You'll have more control over that summarization model. That's using our own XOGPT for doing the kind of generation of that summary based upon the conversation that just happened. And then obviously you've got the ability to do data masking. You can enable it, you can define it for selected queues or not for selected queues, and that's for redacting PCI and PII information. Performance management, here's where you can set your service level goals. So you can say here, you can build kind of Boolean logic as to what your service level goals are. If more than 20% of calls are answered outside of 5 minutes, or whatever the rules are that you want to put in place there. Wow, settings isn't doing anything. That's fun. We'll go through settings elsewhere. Okay. So that's basically how you set up. One thing I didn't show you, previously, if you're familiar with the old Smart Assist, you had that window where you can go in and you can see the automations, and then you could say, is it customer facing, is it agent facing? That has moved, and it was fun to find where it moved to. So if you go into Automation AI and go into the actual virtual assistant and your dialogues, so I go into account management, for example. Click upgrade on that. I can go in here and do dialogue settings, more options, and it's hidden in here. So you have to go through a couple of steps to do it. So you actually enable that within the actual automation dialogue task instead, because you don't have a separate Smart Assist application now. So you do it from within the dialogue task itself. It makes sense logically. It took me a second to figure out where it is. I did a little bit of poking and jumping around. So you can define in here, is it just a customer use case? Is it an agent assist use case? And if so, what channels it's going to be available in? So all of that control is here out of the actual dialogue task. And I don't know if, let me find one that I've messed with. I don't know, how many people have seen XO11 previously at all? Just a couple? Okay. So the look and feel is very different. And this is a bit of an aside. This isn't necessarily strictly contact center, but just so you're aware. This looks a bit different from what you're used to in the current virtual system builder environment. One nice thing is your ability to take nodes and group them together. So like all of these nodes here have to do with authenticating a user. All of these have to do with cable set-top box diagnostics. So you can group them together so you can much more easily see, instead of this great big layout of this flow that can be very, very hard to kind of follow along with. This makes it a lot nicer and a lot more controllable. And you can color code them. You can add colors to them, change the colors, give them names. It's pretty handy.
So I kind of asked one question that I was just wondering multiple times in the last session, and I'm just kind of curious, did you guys, I mean, the new revamped workflow or interaction was significant improvements. I think it looks great. Did you build it off the inspiration of another platform? Like, because my first thought was it reminded me of Amazon Connect flows a little bit, but it's not quite, it's a little different. So did you basically take a look at some of the other CCaaS and go, okay, we like this from Amazon Connect, we like that from Five9, we like that from Genesis, and use that to kind of merge and create your own, or?
So supposition on my part, because I'm not product, I'm just sales engineering, I'm the lowly guy in the room. But my supposition on that is it's a couple of factors. It's feedback from our user base. Hey, it's really complicated, it's hard to follow through, particularly because we push the fact that this is a platform for non-technical users, and then a business user goes in and sees all these blocks and things, they're like, what the heck's going on here? This just makes it easier from that perspective. And I think as we do market analysis, that's obviously influencing the thought process from our product development side. All right, so where was I? So that's. I'm sorry.
How will we be able to visualize text when you're trying to check? Currently, we use the debug console to test text out.
Yeah, you can there's still the testing and the debug.
So it won't be something to do with like if you use Postman, you have the same thing as flows, right? You can see the flow working out gradually, what data is being passed from everything. That is where that UX is helpful. So
Oh, versus this? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure on that, honestly. I don't know. All right, so we talked about that. Campaigns is brand new. Campaigns has just been released as V1 of Campaigns. And right now, even though it's got these tabs here, again, this is in a staging environment. Right now, the initial release is only for digital automation. It's not doing voice yet. Rolling in the near future is going to be our actual dialer and the ability to go in and do progressive, preview, all of those kinds of modes. Quality management is still very much a work in progress, as Ruchi will attest to. So we are building out a quality management tooling. This isn't painting. That's interesting. Okay. So this was showing previously some things around agent adherence. So, adherence to playbooks, et cetera. I'm not sure why it's not painting. I apologize for that. From an analytics perspective, this looks very similar to what you're probably used to seeing out of our platform from an analytics perspective. I don't think there's very much that's changed there. Wi-Fi must be kind of slow in here. There you go. So again, this looks almost exactly like the analytics that you're probably used to from the old Smart Assist view of the world. Console, so here's the agent console, the revamped agent console. We've got a nice bigger panel here for the agent assist piece of it that rolls down the right-hand side. And again, you can create your own layouts and modify the layouts as you want to, and then assign to agents what layouts they're allowed to select from. You're all going to use this layout, or yeah, you can pick which one you prefer out of these layouts. And then there's also the monitor. If you've got supervisory skills, you have the ability to go in here and see status of the queues, how many interactions are waiting, how many are actually in progress with an agent at the moment, status of your agents, and then your standard stuff like what's the average wait time, maximum wait time, after call work, and what your drop-off percentage is. Then for agents, you can go in and see the status of agents themselves, what the status is, what state they're in right now. The load is based upon, so if you're allowing them to have 5 simultaneous chats, for example, and they're on 2 right now, they'd be at 40% load. I don't know why you'd want 5 chats as an agent at once. That would be kind of, but I think we allow up to 15, something like that, which is crazy. I think you'd kill those agents. Interactions, so if there are any actual active interactions going on right now, I could look at those. I, as a supervisor, could jump into that interaction. I could take it over. I could reassign that interaction to somebody else. So as a supervisor, you've got the ability to kind of see what's going on in a current interaction, take steps to resolve issues as you're seeing them happening, et cetera. And then you can see what your current service levels are. We saw earlier where you set your service levels, but so these are kind of default service levels in the platform, and you can see what the status of those is at present. Deploy is same as you saw before, but now you're not publishing in Smart. You're not publishing the bot builder environment and then publishing again in Smart Assist when you make changes there. You have one place that publishes everything, or you can deselect things that you want to publish or not publish. User management, obviously, this is where you add users, add them to groups. You can add roles. You can create custom roles. So you can create. I can create a Superman role and just give them access to everything in this environment. And it's not just so it's not just roles in the contact center, but it's roles. Are they a bot developer? Because it's all one platform. So the user management is across the entirety of the universe. We do support through the admin console bulk import, so you don't have to create. I can imagine a 1,000-seat contact center. Someone's furiously typing away there, adding 1,000 agents. So you can do actual, bulk imports into the configuration too.
Do you have bulk exports? So for access properties, things like that, being able to see who has access to what without going through each and every person?
I believe under our APIs we can export that. I think we have an API available for that. I'm about 80% sure.
What about, so when you have large contact centers, it's very common during the day for WFO supervisors to need to reskill, 100, 200, 300 at a time fairly quickly as you've got trends with campaigns increasing. So is there any way to do reskilling of groups, batch groups at a time and then reset it back to the earlier date config?
I have not. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that in the platform, Ruchi. Have you? Okay. Yeah, bulk reskilling. Yeah, it's not currently in the platform. I don't know if that means is it roadmap or? Oh, it is now. All right, what else did I want to show you in here? Obviously, the virtual assistant takes you back to the VA. We talked about applying the usage. I'm not sure there's anything else that we wanted to specifically go over in here. This is, yeah.
On the channel, like say MS Teams, right now if I'm chatting and I'm a user and the agent never clicks end the chat, I'm stuck.
Oh.
Is that a feature that is now in the platform where a user can end the chat?
And if you're in MS Teams or some channel that doesn't have like a terminating event.
Because for MS Team, they view it as an assistant conversation. I'll have to check on that. I believe we have implemented where user can disconnect and end the chat. Yeah, but I'll have to. But I know that's a feature which we had.
We put a feature requested for it, so I was hoping.
Yes, so that's why I recall that we have implemented that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excuse me. You mentioned something about quality control. Are you quality control? I guess you're recording all the conversations.
So quality assurance, quality monitoring is actively being built right now and will be rolled into the platform in the very near future. It's going to include forms so you're able to go back through and review conversations that have happened, understand how people do. And you can, I think within it you can set also like record X number of interactions per agent per week, et cetera. All that standard kind of QA/QM functionality is being built out.
Okay. Any timetable?
Do you know what the
For
timetable
quality
is on the
control?
roadmap?
I think it's 2 months. Ruchi, no one can hear you.
Yes. So we are building actively in the process of building quality management, and we call it enhanced quality management. It's much more than the regular other vendors do. And just 3 pillars out of the quality management is one is the conversational intelligence. That's your dashboard measuring the contact center KPIs, SLAs, transfer rate, abandonment, and few other criteria. Agent efficiency metrics like churn. What about crosstalk? And then the second pillar is the full 100% auto QA. So regular quality management is quite cumbersome, it's resource intensive, and it's expensive. With AI, we can do 100% auto QA. But then the third pillar is taking this auto QA, we leverage AI to actually help in manual audits. So let's say you're auto queuing thousands of interactions, but 10% of them you still want to manual audit. AI helps with that. And lastly, we take some of these insights that's flowing through the business platform, and develop coaching and the relevant coaching for the agents based on the omissions or some of the things they may have missed. So targeted coaching as part of the quality management. And sorry.
Ambitious timetable.
Yes, and the very first version of quality management is going to come out end of May, and that's going to have conversational intelligence and the auto QA. And then in the second version, which is lined up for July-August timeframe, that's where we are going to add the coaching, the targeted coaching capabilities. Yes, very much. And I'm going to be covering a lot of this in the session tomorrow. So there is a breakout. I'll be covering campaigns and quality management.
There was something I did want to cover. If you have a question, we can do that first.
Two very quick questions. Do we get the ability now to debug flows in the same way that we used to be able to debug automations? So, right, with current Smart Assist, there's no debugger for flows to go through. And then the second is we make heavy use of the current Smart Assist APIs to query agent and skill availability before we transfer. Are those APIs changing in version 11, or are the APIs staying the same? So debugging and APIs.
So from an API perspective, I don't believe that the APIs are changing. From a debugging, I'm not sure.
So for the, I'm stealing the thunder from tomorrow. I think we are announcing our XO platform tomorrow. And that's where I think Graham also already showcased, some of the common elements like user management, analytics, insights, and then flow building also. Those are common elements which we are, we're enhancing it, and it's common to both automation and contact center. So the benefit you had in automation would come in contact center as well. That was one of the reasons. And your second question around API, we don't intend to take away capabilities. So as far as I can remember, it's going to stay as it, and it's only going to enhance, but I'll have to check on that. Yeah.
One thing I did totally miss going over was a couple of things from the agent coaching perspective. So Agent AI is part of the platform. It's in beta version is in 10.x right now also. So this is available there. But you can do a couple of things. You have agent coaching and agent playbook. Agent coaching is where you can create these rules. Actually, let me show you one of the ones that's already built here. So here, we'll take a look at this. So you can build these rules like if customer says any of these things and more than once or twice or even says it just once in a conversation, like competitor mentions or that's too expensive, things like that, and then you give the agent like a hint, give it hey. You might want to give them an offer for a reduced rate. You might want to do this, that, the other. So you can start building out these particular tasks to kind of coach the agent through a conversation based upon targeted behaviors you're expecting them to do. Agent Playbook is a bit different. Agent Playbook is where you set a series of actions at the beginning, at the close of a conversation, and say that you have to do these things in this order. So you have to read the disclaimer up front, or you have to, give them a warm, friendly greeting and hope they have a happy day. And then at the end, make sure you thank them for being a wonderful customer. So you have these items, which are then now reportable on, and also tie back into what's going to be the quality management piece. So you can get some QM, like this person is like 20% of the time they're not following the processes that they're supposed to follow, and compare them with other folks within the same agent teams or agent groups. So that's.
So using the playbook for auto QA, that's based on listening and following what the agent's saying, not the agent saying, I followed the playbook, right? So it's all automated based on like speech recognition of the agent?
The playbook, so you can configure playbook such that it'll have an actual message there, and they can hit send in that message, and it'll send that particular message. Or if it's part of the conversation, you say, hey, You need to authenticate them. You need to ask them for their PIN, as an example I use in a demo that I do. As soon as you type that out, it'll recognize it was typed, and we'll check that off.
What about for voice?
Yes, it's listening in voice, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Because the bot doesn't do anything with voice anyway. It only works on text. That's why we do the speech to text. So at that point, it's just text as far as virtual assistant's concerned. Sorry, I saw a hand.
Yeah, I had a question, but I think I answered myself.
Okay, that's good. All right, do you want to do a little demo?
Well, actually, I mentioned this because I think it actually answers one of the questions I heard a moment ago about, the speech. So dual channel is supported natively. So again, if you're having transcriptions, you can understand whether it's the agent and user that's speaking. One of the common examples is, let's say somebody says the word fraud. All right, it's a very different scenario if the end user is saying, "Hey, this is fraud," versus if the agent is saying fraud. You want your theory, your business rule to act very differently based on whether it's end user or agent that is saying something. So it's coming through chat or transcription. It will pick up all that distinction between the two parties.
Yep.
And then you can have it act differently based on the.
Yeah, you can build a rule, say if it comes from the agent, do this, otherwise.
I'm not sure if that answers aligns with the question just a moment ago.
Yeah, but it's still text as far as we're concerned. We just know which channel it came in on, right?
Hi. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Wow, you're loud.
Wow. I don't know if I needed this. I wanted to know what the current thought process is around cross-channel routing, either between digital channels of engagement or across all channels.
Do you want to address that?
Are you referring that within the same agent being able to handle both voice?
True omnichannel.
Omni.
Channel shift, right?
Yeah. So I was thinking while we were talking about callbacks, one of the things we kind of cobbled together in our current system is IVR to chat, but it's cobbled together.
I see.
So if we could set routing rules around that and in the reverse as well for people who need to request a callback for certain use cases. I was wondering if you guys got there yet.
So callback definitely we support, but let me give you an example. Are you referencing, let's say, the incoming query is on chat, and if the agent needs to escalate it to a voice and video, do we support that? Yeah, we do support that in the platform today.
So the routing could continue that conversation and retain the context
Yes.
of that next channel?
Yes, yeah.
And then, so let's say, maybe the reverse, if they start the conversation in email, and we have agents available, and we know that it's something we can handle right there, could that same thing happen between email and chat?
Email and chat, so email is a non-real-time channel. Let's say an email comes in. We do have an option for the agent to reach out. In fact, one of the capabilities which is net new and we've just launched is proactive web engagement or outbound campaign. It's meant for one-to-many outreach, but we can also do targeted one-to-one outreach as well. In that case, chat to voice and video is supported, but email, I think we can do that. I don't know if it's already configured, but it's easy to do.
And then if we wanted to do, sorry, one more.
Yeah.
If we had somebody who was in a self-service IVR, hit the queue, hit whatever routing configurations we hit here, and we wanted to route them to the chatbot on any sort of digital web platform, that context from IVR codes would be retained, so long as we have a alien identity provider, and then it could skip all of that and retain it for the conversation, yeah?
You're saying something is on IVR, then you want to kind of move it to IVR, it goes to a bot, essentially a voice bot.
No, a chat.
A chat bot. You want to, I'll have to see that. I believe we do that, right? In automation, can we do that?
I don't think exactly the way so what I've seen us being able to do is issue out like a text message with a link, hyperlink. I think you're talking about if they're an authenticated user and you say, hey, go to our website and you initiate a chat session there, that chat session will then be tied to that voice session. Is that what you're saying?
I'm actually talking about both, so.
Yeah. Well, the latter one I think can be done, but it would be very convoluted and would require a lot of SDK work, and BotKit to get into it and understand what's going on. The former, where you can trigger an SMS message, that's pretty straightforward to do, and you have that in the identity management because you know the phone number that you sent it to and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Some of it can be done, but there would be some website canvassing required, and passing the context and.
So some of that configuration is available in the configuration console, or would that have to be separate development?
So no, for the latter, more complex one, that's outside of console. For the former, that's actually done in the AI, in the automation AI.
And so then, like the first example we had where they were going chat to voice, would that running be in here or in the automation AI?
No, that would be because they're coming out of the console. They're actually initiating an outbound call right there at the agent console.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they just get on a call here and dial someone. All right. So, any more questions? Was this helpful at all? And you'll have more deeper dives with more brainy people throughout the sessions here in the next couple of days.
We have the dialer up. We know about inbound SIP because we're using that. Do you guys do outbound SIP as well, so that the agent initiates the call, it'll actually do a SIP transfer to us?
Yeah, you bring your own SIP trunks. In fact, we've got a number of customers. So right now, this is using it's using our number one that you purchased through us. You don't have branding on it. If someone calls back to it, where's that going to, et cetera. So we have a number of customers where we're using their SIP trunks for the outbound. We do a SIP configuration. You define the number, so when you go back.
Right, so we can do that now that it's set up. We can actually do outbound SIP trunking through.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, because with some high-profile customers are that, and you have these services out there that brand your number, so when it comes in on here, you've got your logo and all that. Yeah, you don't want our phone numbers up there, our Twilio numbers. That wouldn't help you much. We good? Well, thank you. You guys took it easy on me. I like that. All right, and then again, people will be around all week. Ruchi's got. When are your sessions again? You have. Okay, so Contact Center AI tomorrow, and then Agent AI on Thursday.
So we haven't really dived into the topic yet, but is there anything coming down the pipeline in terms of using the AI based on the contact center conversations, generative AI, to now start creating knowledge content, being able to create those guides, basically taking the next level in terms of the interactions that are actually happening and taking action on those?
Yeah, we're rolling out a number of features within our platform, and we're really expanding, and this will be a separate topic you'll be hearing more about throughout the next few days. We're expanding a lot outside of just being hyper-focused on conversational AI and being able to do things. You'll hear this a product called Gale that's coming out that lets you create large language models, lets you do lets you create kind of a pipeline. They call it AI agent. And I was mentioning to someone over here that it gets very confusing because this is agent AI in here. Then we have an AI agent that's part of Gale. And they need to change one of those names. But what it lets you do is tie processes together and do things like, create job descriptions or create a dialogue task or, do things like that. So there's going to be a lot of changes in terms of capabilities within the platform and expansion beyond just kind of self-service, contact center type of virtual assistants. Cool. Thank you, guys.